Revealed, how a cleaning lady's hidden dream became life-changing after an incredible call from. Maria woke up every morning before the sun pierced through her window, wiping away sleep as she readied herself for another long day. At 34, her hands were calloused from years of scrubbing floors, her heart heavy with dreams lost in the shadows of a painful divorce. Each swipe of the broom felt like scraping against her own aspirations, and though she put on a brave face while cleaning homes in her modest suburban neighborhood, inside she wrestled with insecurities that threatened to take hold. With 2 children leaning on her, every choice held weight. Memories of her immigrant parents flooded her mind, their sacrifices, the values of service they instilled in her. She remembered their laughter amid hard work, but their whispers echoed deeper: be resilient, help others, keep your dreams alive. Yet, what could a cleaning lady dare hope for? Her dream of becoming a nurse flickered like a distant star, forever out of reach as she cleaned kitchens and sanitized bathrooms. She sought to shield her children from her burdens, but that weight pressed down heavily, especially when her son clutched his arm, grimacing in pain after a reckless play during a school game. Panic had surged through her. She rushed to the local community center, her heart pounding. What would she say? What help could she offer, when all she did was wipe away the traces of other families' lives? At the community center, she met James, a retired veteran who knew what it was to fight battles both seen and unseen. His stories were marked with resilience, laughter punctuated with raw honesty, tales of standing tall despite being overlooked. His sparkling eyes and encouraging words ignited something inside her. A long-buried ember began to glow. "You have more strength than you realize, Maria," he said one afternoon. "You can still chase that nursing dream. Don't let the world box you in." As Maria listened, hope began to swell within her chest. Why not balance her night classes around job duties? Who would stop her from at least trying? But each time she envisioned herself in white scrubs, doubts snuck in the whispers of her tight-knit community, questioning her worth, casting fleeting glances of judgment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as Maria thought she could find a rhythm, another storm hit. Bills piled up like dirty laundry at home, and the weight of financial strain threatened to crush her dreams once more. But just when despair knocked, her phone rang. A moment of shock seized her heart. A prestigious hospital was offering her a scholarship. They saw the potential in a cleaning lady longing for change. It was an opportunity that felt unreachable, now knocking at her door. Maria stood at a crossroads, caught between her family responsibilities and a path toward her dreams. Could she dive deeper? Could she carry the weight of ambition without losing the love she had for her children? She could feel the stakes rising, the tension thick in the air. As the realities of her journey loomed closer, the question remained: would she find a way to embrace this chance, or would doubt snatch away the hope she had painstakingly nurtured? Maria blinked back tears as she stared at her phone, the shining screen almost blinding in the morning sun. The hospital's name glowed, a beacon of hope, whispering promises of a life she had long believed to be unattainable. But the voice of reason, insistent and loud, ricocheted in her mind. "You can't do this," it said. "What will the kids think? How will you manage everything?" Sitting on the edge of her bed, Maria felt the weight of her children's future pressing down on her. "Mommy, can we go to the park today?" Her youngest had asked earlier that morning, those innocent eyes looking up at her filled with trust and love. Just a few hours? And in Maria's heart, she knew they needed that time together, a tiny escape from their cramped apartment and the bills that cluttered their lives. But the scholarship awaited. What would it mean for her children to see her chasing her dreams? More than just the pride, what if it inspired them? The thought sent a rush of warmth through her, the flicker of hope igniting into a flame. Still, uncertainty paralyzed her. The responsibilities weighed heavily like a coat made of stone. She glanced toward the kitchen, where dirty dishes piled higher than usual, a reflection of her chaotic life. Each plate, each glass echoed her struggles, her failures. Would she be a good student? Could she juggle it all without dropping the delicate balance of parenthood? In that moment, Maria recalled James's words the way they rang with conviction: you have more strength than you realize. She took a deep breath, inhaling hope, exhaling doubt. What if he was right? What if this was her chance to sculpt a better future for her family out of the rubble of her past? With determination blooming in her chest, she reached for her phone, thumbs hovering above the screen's familiar keyboard. But before she could impulsively dial, her son's voice drifted from the other room, calling for her. "Mom, come quick." Her heart dropped. The demanding tone prickled her nerves. What now? She thought, but she quickly tucked her phone away and rushed toward the commotion. In the living room, her son was holding up a box as if it were a trophy. "Look what I found." As he opened it, a burst of color exploded before her eyes, a miniature robot that looked like it had sprinted out of a science fiction movie. His excitement was contagious, and for a moment, the worries faded away. "Wow! Where did you find that?" "I built it in science club, Mom. Can we put it together?" The spark in his eyes was a reminder. Children feed off their parents' hopes, their resilience. Her heart surged with love. If she could embrace hope for herself, maybe her children would too. "Of course, sweetie. Let us build it together." Hours passed as they huddled over manuals and tiny pieces, laughter filling their small space. The distraction was welcomed, allowing Maria to push aside fears, if only temporarily. But deep down, her mind was still racing with what lay ahead. As the sun began to sink low, casting a warm orange glow across their living room, a new thought emerged. How to manage school and the children? Could they adapt? Did she have it in her to shift their entire family routine toward this newfound light brighter than she'd ever seen? With each passing hour, courage steadied her heart, but she knew a decision had to be made. There was an undeniable anchor pulling her back to familiar challenges, but a burgeoning hope whispered urgency for her future. As the evening deepened, she stood up, realizing it was time to take that first step. She looked toward her children, eyes sparkling with curiosity and trust. But as she grabbed her phone, it rang again, another unknown number. Anxiety gripped her heart again, tighter this time. Would it be more good news or another blow? She hesitated but felt a strong pull to answer. Hello? What would this call bring? Would it further disrupt her fragile balance or lead her closer towards the life she dreamed of? "Maria, is that you?" The voice on the other end was unmistakably warm and familiar. It was Clara, her old friend from high school, now a successful administrator at the very hospital offering the scholarship. "Clara. Wow, it's been ages." Maria could feel her heart start to race, caught off guard by the unexpected connection, but the knot of anxiety remained tight in her chest. "I saw your application and just wanted to follow up. We've been looking over the candidates, and I must say, I'm impressed by your determination." "You've come so far, Maria," Clara said, her tone blending encouragement with a hint of urgency. "I wanted to make sure you understood what's at stake here. This scholarship could change everything for you and the kids." Maria's breath caught in her throat, and emotions swirled within her. What if she really could have the life she dreamed of? I know it's a big step, but I'm just so afraid. I don't want to let my kids down." "Listen, we all grow into who we're meant to be step by step. What you're doing, it matters. You showing your children that it's okay to dream, that it's okay to fight for those dreams, it's a lesson they'll carry for the rest of their lives." Maria's heart swelled at Clara's words. Had she been so hung up on the fear of failing that she missed the bigger picture? "You're right," she admitted, though doubt still lurked in the back of her mind. But it just feels like so much. The kids need me every moment of every day. What if I help you find a balance? I can connect you with resources and support systems we have in place. Let us make it work for you, Clara offered. Maria could hear the sincerity in her voice, igniting the flicker of hope that had been lingering. Really? You'd do that for me? Maria felt overwhelmed by gratitude, but another wave of fear crashed over her. What if she faltered? What if the pressure was too much? Yes, absolutely. I know how hard it is. But Maria, this is your moment to show your kids that it's okay to strive for more. That it's okay to chase your dreams, no matter how far-fetched they seem. Clara's voice resonated with conviction. Tears pooled in Maria's eyes. For the first time in a long while, she began to believe she had something worthy to work for, a dream to chase. Thank you, Clara. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Just remember, Clara continued, one step at a time. Start with the classes, and we'll figure out the rest together. Don't let doubt rob you of this opportunity. Maria nodded, although Clara couldn't see. The hesitance began to fade, replaced by a rush of excitement. The idea of stepping into the halls of that hospital, learning and growing, felt intoxicating. After the call ended, Maria looked at her kids, who had at some point nestled themselves against her, half asleep with their miniature robot blinking softly in the dim light. A rush of warmth flooded through her. Their futures depended on her choices. The very pursuit of her dreams could inspire them. But as she nestled back beside them, a new fear bubbled up. What if she couldn't handle it all? As she tucked a blanket around her children, she felt a tightness in her chest again. What would tomorrow bring? Would she truly be able to answer both their needs and her own ambitions? The moment felt heavy, like standing on the edge of a cliff, contemplating the leap into the unknown. Tomorrow was just one day away, but already it felt like more than that. Could she truly step into this new chapter, or would she retreat back into the shadows of her old life? As she closed her eyes, she understood one thing: she needed to decide what her leap would be. Was it toward her dreams, or would it be another day of uncertainties? The dawn of a new journey awaited her at sunrise, but the question lingered: would she be ready? The sun rose, painting warm hues across the sky, and filled the room with a gentle glow. Maria stirred awake, the echoes of her conversation with Clara still fresh in her mind. The weight of her new reality pressed against her, but so did the flicker of hope. She glanced over at her children, still lost in their dreams, their peaceful faces calming her racing heart. Pressing her palms together, she whispered a silent prayer for strength. Today would mark the beginning of something different, something that could change everything. After breakfast, she gathered her kids around the table, their usual animated chatter filling the air. I have something important to share with you both, Maria said, her voice steady yet filled with the tremor of excitement. The kids paused, their curious eyes wide, and Maria could feel her heart drum against her chest. She took a deep breath. Mommy's going to start some classes at the hospital. I'm really going to work hard on my dreams. There was silence for a moment, and she feared she had miscalculated their reactions. Then, her daughter Maria, with bright eyes, clapped her hands. That's awesome, Mommy. Are you going to be a doctor? Maria chuckled nervously, not quite a doctor just yet, but it's a step toward that. Her son, eager to grasp the concept, leaned forward. But what do you need classes for? You already help people. Yes, sweetheart. But I want to help even more. I want to learn new things so I can be the best I can be for our family, Maria explained, her voice firming with each word. Can we help? Her son asked, his innocent face glowing with determination. We can pick up all our toys and maybe have time for dinner before you come home. Tears pricked at Maria's eyes, and she pulled both children into a warm embrace. You already help me more than you know. I couldn't do this without you. After breakfast, the day unfolded like a whirlwind. She posted schedules and reminders on the fridge, involving the kids in her plans, albeit slightly adjusting expectations to create a manageable flow. As she dusted the old bookshelves, Maria felt a surge of motivation. She watched the minutes tick by on the clock, but instead of the familiar dread overcoming her, anticipation built within her. Classes were right around the corner. The more she envisioned herself in those hospital halls, the more she believed it was her destiny. And as evening crept in, and her kids settled into bed, she finally felt a moment of stillness. But as she prepared for sleep, a nagging doubt crept in: could she truly manage everything? The idea of balancing work, school, and motherhood appeared daunting. Could she meet expectations all around? At that moment, her phone buzzed. A message from Clara lit up the screen. "Just checking in. Remember, you're not alone in this." Maria stared at the words, and for the first time in days, breathing deeply settled the storm inside her. It was not only about her journey anymore, it was about strength in community, support, and the threads of hope intermingling with the hardships. With a newfound sense of determination, Maria lay down, but sleep didn't come easily. She was riddled with questions. What if she stumbled? What if her ambition outweighed her ability to adapt? Tomorrow would bring the first of many challenges. But tonight, as she closed her eyes, she remembered Clara's words. One step at a time. What Maria didn't expect was the phone call that would change everything once more. A call that could either break her or catapult her into a world of possibilities. What would it reveal? Maria's heart raced as she reached for her phone. The screen illuminated and displayed a number she didn't recognize. Taking a deep breath, she answered, curiosity and anxiety mingling within her. "Hello?" she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Is this Maria?" a warm voice on the other end asked. "Yes, speaking," she replied, her stomach churning with anticipation. "This is Jenna from the Community Health Initiative. I hope I'm not interrupting anything important," the woman continued. "I wanted to talk to you about the application you submitted for the healthcare support program." Maria's breath caught in her throat. She had almost forgotten about that application, sent on a whim, fueled by her conversation with Clara. "Oh, yes. I remember," she said, attempting to disguise the tremor of disbelief in her voice. "We were impressed by your background and your passion for helping others. We'd like to invite you to interview for a position with us," Jenna explained. The enthusiasm in her tone washed over Maria like warm sunlight. "Really? I can't believe it," Maria exclaimed, feeling a swell of hope surge through her. "When is the interview?" "Next week. We're excited about the potential for you to join our team," Jenna said. "We believe your experience and drive will make a fantastic addition." "Thank you. Thank you so much," Maria stammered, her heart soaring. This was the kind of break she thought only happened in dreams. After hanging up, she sat in silence for a moment, overwhelmed. Her mind raced through scenarios. What if the interview went well? What if she really had a chance to create a better life for her children? She glanced around the room, the same old walls now feeling like they hummed with potential. The realization that her efforts might finally lead to a significant change made her smile grow wider. The next day, Maria dove headfirst into preparations. She researched and practiced interview questions, occasionally stopping to visualize herself in a crisp uniform, stepping confidently into the hospital as part of a team where she wanted to belong. But as she studied, the nagging doubts began to surface again. "What if I can't handle the responsibility?" she whispered to herself. "What if I embarrass myself?" Those thoughts nearly derailed her, but she remembered Clara's words about leaning on her community. That night, she reached out to Clara, seeking her input. They spoke for hours, Clara's warmth wrapping around her like a soothing blanket. "You can do this, Maria. Just stay true to yourself, and remember why you're doing it," Clara reassured her. "Family first, right? Maria chuckled softly, feeling the weight of those words settle into her heart. By the time she hung up, she felt energized and ready to face the world. The small steps she had envisioned suddenly morphed into a path laden with promise. As she lay in bed, however, a new worry settled in. Would her children adjust to the changes her career aspirations might bring? Would they understand her absence during those long hours of study and hard work? With a sigh, she turned off the light, half to sleep and half to reflect on how she would explain these coming changes to her kids. Tomorrow would be the first of many changes in their lives. With excitement pulsing through her veins, Maria knew she had to break the news gently to them. Little did she know, their reaction would lead her down a path she never anticipated. Tomorrow could bring answers that might just unfold the next chapter of her journey. How would her children respond to her dreams? Would they rally around her or would they pull back? The next morning, the sun beamed brightly through the kitchen window, casting warm rays that danced over the breakfast table. Maria stood at the stove, the scent of sizzling eggs wafting through the air while she tried to collect her thoughts. Her children's laughter echoed in the background as they played with their toys, blissfully unaware of the monumental conversation that lay ahead. "Mom! Breakfast!" Max yelled, his voice breaking through her reverie. "Coming," she responded, glancing down at the plates she had prepared. She served them with love, her heart fluttering with the anticipation of sharing her news. As the kids settled at the table, Maria took a moment to watch them. Elena, with her pigtails bouncing, and Max, ever so curious, brought her such joy. They were growing, changing, and she felt the weight of her dreams pressing more heavily on her. "Hey, you two," she began, her voice steady but soft. "I have something important to share with you." They paused, glancing at each other with raised eyebrows. "Is it about the park?" Elena asked, hopeful. Maria smiled softly, shaking her head. "Not exactly. I applied for a job," she said, her throat tightening as she took a deep breath. "An interview? For a job at the Community Health Initiative?" Max looked puzzled, his breakfast momentarily forgotten. "What does that mean?" "It means I could be working in a hospital, helping people," Maria explained, her heart swelling as she spoke. "It's a chance for our family to have a better life." The silence at the table felt heavy, as if the air had shifted. Maria's heart beat louder in her ears, nerves flooding over her. "What about us?" Elena asked, her voice small. "Will you be home less?" Maria quickly shook her head, her hands nervously fidgeting with her napkin. "I'll still be here for you, but there might be some more busy days. I'll make sure we keep our time together special." Max stared at her, confusion washing over his young face. "But we need you. What if we need help with homework or something else?" Maria's heart panged. "I know, sweetheart, and I want to be there to help. This job could help me provide for us, but I promise I'll always find a way to make time for you both, no matter what." Elena pushed her plate aside and leaned in closer, her expression solemn. "But what if you don't have time for us? It's different now. We're growing, and I need to grow too," Maria whispered, hope intersecting with fear. "I need you to trust me." For a moment, she thought she might see the understanding she longed for, the pride in their eyes for their mother's ambitions. Instead, she saw uncertainty. Max broke the silence, his youthful innocence shining through. "Can we still watch movies together on Friday nights?" "Yes, of course," Maria exclaimed, feeling a sudden rush of relief wash over her. It was a fragile bridge, but one she was ready to fortify. Elena finally offered a small smile, shoving a piece of toast into her mouth. "Then maybe it'll be okay. But I think you should bring us to the hospital one day." Maria chuckled, feeling warmth bloom in her chest. "Maybe I can do that when the time comes." Each word they exchanged echoed deep within her. Would they really rally around her coiling hopes? She couldn't shake the doubts swirling in her own heart. Later that evening, after the kids had gone to bed, Maria sat down with her journal. She wanted to write down her feelings, to capture this moment. Her heart raced as she realized the weight of her dream stretched beyond herself now, it was woven into the fabric of their lives. As she scribbled, a sudden thought pierced through the quiet. What if her pursuit of a new path sparked a ripple effect in their lives? What if this journey not only reshaped her future but theirs as well, in ways she couldn't yet imagine? Then, a knock at the door startled her. Maria closed her journal, her pulse quickening. Who could it be at this hour? As she opened the door, she wasn't prepared for who stood before her. Maria. A familiar voice called out, leaving her breathless. The unexpected visitor was someone she hadn't seen in years, someone who could change everything. In that moment, Maria's heart raced with both fear and excitement. Would this be her next step towards her dreams or another complication entirely? Maria blinked, her eyes trying to adjust to the figure standing in the doorway. It was Danny, her childhood friend, now wearing the confident demeanor of a man who had seen the world. His warm smile, however, felt like a time capsule, filled with memories they had shared and a few they had both long buried. Danny? The name slipped out, barely audible. Thoughts rushed through her mind. What was he doing here? How didn't she know he'd be back in town? I know it's been a while, he said, stepping inside. The smell of fresh air mingled with his cologne, filling the small space. I just got back, and I couldn't resist stopping by. She closed the door behind him, her heart racing. Wow, it's really been years. How have you been? Busy, you know. Life pulled me in a dozen directions. He chuckled, but Maria noticed the edge in his voice. But, I'm home now. It feels good to be back. Their small talk felt like wading through a stream, gentle but causing ripples of memories. Each shared laugh made her question what it meant to reconnect. Deep down, she sensed that there was more behind his visit, an energy that shifted the air. Maria, I heard about your interview, Danny said casually, but she caught the flicker of interest in his eyes. Community health initiative, right? That's amazing. For a moment, she felt a swell of pride. She'd always admired his ambition, but the weight of his gaze added pressure to her informal announcement. Thanks. I just want to do something meaningful for the kids. Danny took a step closer, his gaze searching hers. You always dreamed big, Maria. This job could be your starting point. Have you thought about what it might lead to? Her emotions danced in the uncertainty. Everything is still a blur. I want it, but there are fears. What if I can't balance it all? A comforting smile spread on his face, and suddenly, Maria felt lighter. You have more strength than you realize. Look at you, a single mom, raising two amazing kids. You're just taking the next leap. And, hey, I'm around if you ever need support. Support? The question lingered, heavy with implications. She could almost feel her walls cracking, shifting her perspective. It was strange how just hearing those words from him made her heart flutter with hope. Yeah. Danny's voice was earnest. You're not alone in this, you know. We could work together. I mean, I'm starting a community project on health outreach next month. I could use a partner who's as passionate as you are. Partner? Maria's heart pounded in her chest. The thought of collaborating felt invigorating, yet it also frightened her. Could she trust him? Did she want that closeness again? Just think about it, he continued, his fervor infectious. We could really do something incredible. And it wouldn't just be about work, it could bring us back together. Isn't that what we both wanted all those years ago? What she wanted, versus what she needed, spun around her like autumn leaves in a gust. Suddenly, she wasn't just a mother with aspirations, she was a woman facing choices that could either uplift or entangle her. Let me think about it, she finally said, her voice a little shaky but resolute. Danny nodded, his expression shining with an understanding that felt like a lifeline. "Take your time. I'll be here. Only a call away." As he left, Maria felt the electric tension from their conversation. The comfort and the unexpected flutter of old feelings lingered in the air, hinting at renewed possibilities. Would she find the courage to pursue both her dreams and this unexpected partnership? Or would it all slip away like grains of sand, lost in time? As she closed the door behind him, she realized this encounter could very well alter the course of her journey. In her heart, the question lingered, could reconnecting with Danny bring her closer to her dreams, or would it complicate her already unpredictable path? Maria leaned back against the closed door, her chest rising and falling as she exhaled the breath she didn't know she was holding. The vibrant energy from Danny lingered like the last rays of a sunset. Everything felt charged. She wanted to dive deeper into that energy but couldn't shake the gnawing trepidation in her gut. Her kitchen was alive with the sounds of her children laughing in the other room, a reminder of her responsibilities. They were her world, yet the thought of something for herself was beginning to twine itself into her reality. The very idea felt exhilarating and terrifying. What if this was her chance? "Mom! Can we have pasta for dinner?" Her youngest, Chloe, shouted, her sugary voice breaking the tension. "Of course," Maria called back, forcing a bright smile to her face. But as she turned toward the stove, thoughts of Danny danced in her mind again, crowding out thoughts of boiling water or chopping tomatoes. His eyes had been so sincere, filled with encouragement and something else she could not yet name. As she stirred the pot, she recalled the moment Danny had taken that step closer to her. His words echoed in her ears, "You're not alone in this." It wasn't just support he was offering. There had been an unspoken bond, a connection that seemed to peel back years of separation. "Mom! I'm hungry." Her son, Eric, burst into the kitchen, waving his game console. He was still sporting the remnants of his afternoon adventure, the dirt smudged on his cheeks telling her all she needed to know about his day. "Just a few minutes more," she said, brushing a strand of hair from her face and trying hard to concentrate. Maybe she should put on a brave face, tell her children everything was fine while internally wrestling with her choices. Dinner passed with the usual chaos of kids asking for this and that, laughter blending with the clatter of forks against plates. But even amidst the familiar sounds, Maria felt a shift. Each bite she took felt heavier than the last, weighed down by the choices she had to make. Later that night, after the kitchen was clean and the kids were tucked in, Maria collapsed on the couch exhausted. The house was still now, wrapped in silence, but her mind was racing. Should she really reach out to Danny about his project? Could she really balance her dreams with everything else? Her phone buzzed, making her jump. Curiosity coursed through her as she reached for it, half expecting it to be a notification. Instead, it was a text from Danny. "Hey, just wanted to check in. Hope you had a good evening. Let me know if you want to chat about the project." Her heart fluttered. She had a choice to make. With a few taps, she could either dive deeper into this storm of emotions or keep her safe distance. A lump formed in her throat as she typed back, "I'm thinking about it. Can we talk tomorrow?" As she hit send, a curious mix of excitement and fear washed over her. She stared at the screen, waiting for a response that came almost immediately. "Absolutely. Let us meet up in the morning." What she hoped for was a chance to explore this partnership, but what she feared was that it would lead to more than just work. Was she ready to confront whatever had been left unsaid between them? With the sudden influx of emotions, Maria realized tomorrow could change everything. The looming question hung in her mind as she turned off the lights and climbed into bed. Could facing Danny again mean reigniting a flame that she had let burn out? And more importantly, could she trust him not to derail the new path she was attempting to carve for herself and her children? Morning sunlight filtered through the kitchen window as Maria prepared breakfast, the familiar routine offering a comforting sense of normalcy. Yet, today felt different. Her heart raced as she stirred the pancake batter, thoughts of Danny edging out the comforting sounds of her kids getting ready for school. "Mom, are we almost ready?" Eric's voice broke her reverie. "Just about. You need to eat something," she replied with a smile, though her mind was elsewhere. The minutes slipped by quickly. She poured the batter onto the griddle, the sizzle filling the silence. But instead of being grounded in this moment, she was lost in the possibilities of what awaited her after school. A lingering dread coiled in her stomach as she imagined the conversation with Danny, how it might unravel the neat layers of her life. "Mom! I can't find my backpack." Chloe's desperate shout echoed through the house. "Check under your bed. You leave your stuff everywhere." Maria called back, her voice a mix of frustration and affection. She finished flipping the pancakes and turned toward the noise, her heart swelling as she caught a glimpse of her children's familiar chaos. They were her joy, yet the shadows of something more stirred within her. After breakfast, the house settled into a frenetic whirlwind of shoes, backpacks, and last-minute lunches. Once the kids were out the door, Maria leaned against the counter, breathing in the lingering smell of pancakes. She felt a pang of loneliness hit her. She was back to being just a mom, yet that earlier yearning persisted. The clock ticked. Time seemed to inch forward until finally, she grabbed her phone to check the time. It was too soon. The minutes seemed to stretch endlessly. What was she being pulled toward? As she paced the living room, her thoughts danced around the possible conversation with Danny. The anticipation was almost unbearable. Part of her wanted to spill everything, to expose the fear and hope bubbling beneath her surface. But the other part, the cautious mother, warned her to hold back, to not shake up the delicate balance she'd built for her family. When noon finally arrived, Maria felt a rush of determination. She needed to meet Danny, not just for the project, but to rediscover a piece of herself that had long been silenced. After changing into a crisp blouse that felt more like armor than a casual outfit, she grabbed her keys and stepped out into the bright day. The drive felt electric. Maria's mind raced as she replayed her messages with Danny. What would they talk about? Would he still see her as the same Maria he once knew? Or had time changed them both too much? When she pulled into the small cafe, her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Inside, she spotted Danny seated at a table near the window, a nervous smile breaking across his face when he saw her. The weight of the moment settled on her shoulders, equal parts nerves and excitement. "Hey! You made it!" he said, standing up as she approached. "Of course. Wasn't he going to miss it?" she replied, forcing a smile as she sat down across from him. As they dove into conversation, the air thick with familiarity and tension, Maria struggled to push aside the anxious thoughts. Would this lead to something beautiful or chaotic? For every plan she made for herself, dread whispered that it could all unravel. But there it was again, that fire that came alive so easily between them. As laughter began to intertwine with their discussions about the project, Maria felt the walls around her heart start to crack. Maybe, just maybe, the path she was on was meant to cross with Danny for a reason. But just as she felt the warmth of connection, her phone buzzed loudly on the table. The message flashed across the screen: "What are you doing? You should focus on your family." Her breath hitched, and suddenly she felt torn between her past and this flicker of hope. What did this really mean for her future? With her heart pounding, Maria glanced back up at Danny. The words lingered in the air unfinished. Would she let these outside influences snuff out the light she had just rekindled? Maria blinked, wondering if she was ready for what could come next. Or was she simply jumping headfirst into a storm? The afternoon sun streamed through the window, illuminating the small cafe where Maria sat across from Danny, emotions tangled like threads of a well-loved tapestry. Laughter had eased the initial tension, but now, a note of uncertainty swirled in the air between them. Was she really ready to embrace the future he was offering? Maria took a deep breath, her heart racing as her phone buzzed for attention. The message flashed like a neon sign in her mind, demanding her focus. "What are you doing? You should focus on your family." Her heart sank. She loved her children fiercely, but she knew this moment felt crucial for her, too. The call to action was deafening. She couldn't let fear of outside judgment dim the flames she had finally learned to fan on her own. Danny's eyes held hers, the warmth from earlier still there, but a flicker of concern crossed his face. "Everything okay?" he asked gently. "Yes," she replied, but the word felt fragile. I have a lot on my mind." "Like what?" He leaned closer, genuinely curious, and Maria felt the continuity of their connection pulse just beneath the surface, reminding her of the dreams they once shared. "I'm trying to find balance between what I want for myself and what my kids need from me," she admitted, the words spilling out before she could sift through them. "I want to chase my dreams, but what if I can't manage everything? What if I'm not enough?" His gaze softened, and just like that, any veneer of uncertainty slipped away. "You're already doing so much, Maria. It takes a strong woman to realize that she deserves to go after her dreams. Your kids will see that and learn from it." For a moment, her doubts fell silent, and she felt a rush of defiance course through her. Yes, she was a mother, but that didn't mean she had to stop being Maria, the woman with aspirations and hunger for more. "Let us do this together," Danny suggested, his voice low yet full of possibility. "Let me help you with the outreach project. I believe in what you can do." The sense of camaraderie was soothing, and she allowed herself to picture a future again, one where she could become a force in her community, where her children would see her chasing her goals with determination. "What if we could inspire others?" she mused, leaning back in her chair as visions of change glimmered in her mind. "Exactly." Danny beamed, his enthusiasm infectious. "You teach them courage. Following your dreams becomes their lesson. Besides, you're not alone, I'm here, and we can build something incredible." Her worries were transforming into something tangible, dodging the shadows that had long loomed overhead. For the first time, she felt the thrill of stepping into her future, and it made her heart race with excitement. The moment felt like a binding pact, and as they continued to discuss the possibilities, Maria could almost feel the weight of her past slipping away. She envisioned her bustling day-to-day life interspersed with laughter, the vibrant energy of ambition reflecting back in her kids' eyes, encouraging them to be their own best selves, too. As they knocked around ideas for the project, her phone buzzed again, but this time, Maria was ready. She glanced at the screen, the familiar name causing a smile to touch her lips. Her daughter's tiny fingers typed a short but sweet message, "Love you, Mom. Can't wait to see you." The words settled like warm sunshine inside her, wrapping around her heart. This is how it starts, she thought, a firm resolve settling in her chest. She was doing it. She was stepping forward, not just for herself but for them. "I want to commit to this, Danny," she said, looking him squarely in the eye. "I want to show my kids that we can chase our dreams, together." Danny's expression lit up, and Maria felt the echoes of laughter they had once shared resonate in the air. This was just the beginning. In the days that followed, Maria embraced the whirlwind of change. As she balanced her responsibilities with the new project, her children flourished beside her. They became little champions cheering her on, their wide-eyed curiosity sparking conversations beyond what she ever expected. Each week, they joined her in planning and packing supplies, mixing their youthful energy into her adult aspirations. During a weekend family movie night, Maria glanced at the collection of notes pinned to her refrigerator, tracking the outreach project's progress. Drawing inspiration from her children's faces glowing with pride and hope, she felt the fulfillment bloom within her. It was crystal clear chasing her dreams meant leaving a legacy of resilience for them to inherit. One afternoon, as the sun cast golden rays over their neighborhood, her eldest son, Eric, turned to her with round, eager eyes. "Mom, do you think I can be brave like you?" Tears prickled in Maria's eyes. "Sweetheart, you're already brave. You see, bravery isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's taking small steps every day toward a bigger dream." In that moment, the path she had forged became broader, winding toward opportunities she dared to dream of. And as she took her own steps into the healthcare world while nurturing her family, Maria realized her aspirations were entwined with her ability to empower her children. With every lecture, every midnight study session, and every moment spent in shared laughter, Maria nestled the truth deep within her heart. She was chasing dreams, not just for herself but creating a vibrant tapestry where her children would weave their own tales of courage. When Maria stood in her scrubs for the first time, a mixture of pride and purpose washed over her. The nurse in her reflected back more than just a title; it represented ownership of her passion, a beacon of hope for her children, guiding them to understand that dreams were worth chasing, and they could do so together. The unknown laid ahead, waiting to be discovered, but she knew something profound: feared spaces would no longer bind her. Instead, each day would present a blank canvas ready to be painted with resilience, love, and family, her legacy, their legacy. And with a heart full of resolve and a spirit ignited like never before, Maria took her first step forward, ready to embrace the radiant journey that awaited her. The world was her canvas, and she was ready to paint it with vibrant hues of hope. Now, stop for a moment and think. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories like Maria's remarkable journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support; it really makes a difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. We want to hear from you. And please, share immediately this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share the magic of this story. Your support is invaluable, and only true fans truly understand the importance of spreading this message.